Good morning, students. Today I am going to discuss with you remaining adjustments of final account. Yesterday we have discussed 4 adjustments: closing stock, and then outstanding expenses, and then prepaid expenses, and the last one is depreciation. I hope all that are clear. So now we will start from 5th adjustment. Yes, 5th adjustment is about accrued income. What is accrued income? It means income earned but not received. That means you have to complete your work but income is not received. So where it should be passed? Trading and P&L account and balance sheet. As I told you, every adjustment has 2 treatment. So accrued income should be passed in credit side where add in related income. If accrued commission, then add in commission. If accrued rent received, then add in rent received. Because it is an income, so it should be passed in credit side. And the second treatment is on accrued income, because this income is going to be received by you. That's why it should be passed in balance sheet asset side. Balance sheet asset side. And if accrued income is given in question, not as an adjustment, then it has a single treatment as I told you. So it should be passed in asset side only. So it should be passed in asset side only, not in P&L credit side. I hope it's clear. Next adjustment we have unearned income. Unearned income means income received in advance. The income received in advance by you. So as it is an income, so it should also be passed in credit side. But this income, because received in advance, so it should be less from related income. So if unearned commission, so less from commission. If unearned interest, then less from interest. So that's why I write here less from related income. And next, where it should be passed? Because it's income received in advance. So if you don't complete your work, in that case you have to return that income. That's why it should be passed in liability side. And if this unearned income is given in question, not as an adjustment, then it should be passed only in liability side, not in P&L credit side. You have to learn both things. When it is an adjustment, then 2 treatment. When it is given in question, then single treatment, that it should be passed in balance sheet. You have to learn it. Next we have interest on capital. As we see that capital is liability for business, because it is the liability of business to pay the capital to its owner at the end of the business. So as capital is a liability, so its interest must be an expense for the business. So that's why it should be passed in P&L debit side. P&L debit side as an expense. And interest on capital, as capital is given in liability side, so interest on capital increase our liability. So in balance sheet it should be passed in liability side and add in capital. And if interest on capital is given in question, then never post in balance sheet. It should be passed in P&L debit side. So just learn it. When it is accrued income given in question, then in balance sheet. But interest on capital given in question, then it should be passed in P&L debit side, because it means it's already adjusted in capital. Next we have interest on drawings. Same treatment. As we see that drawings mean amount withdrawn from business. So if an owner withdraw business from some amount, then he have to pay interest to business. That means interest on drawing is an income for business. That's why it should be passed in P&L credit side. P&L credit side, because it's an income for business. And as we know, drawings should be less from capital because it reduces our capital. So interest on capital should also be reduced from, interest on drawing should also be reduced from capital, less from capital liability side. Don't write it in asset side. You can write it, but the actual treatment is that it should be less from capital. Next we have bad debts. Bad debts means some person who don't have pay your money. That means it's a loss for the business. So it should be passed in P&L debit side. P&L debit side. And next it should be passed because bad debts are from debtors. So in balance sheet they should be less from debtors. But if bad debts are given in question only, then it should be passed in P&L debit side only, not less from debtors. And the last adjustment for today we have provision on debtors for doubtful debts. Bad debts means amount already drawn, but provision means which can be withdrawn, which can be a loss for the business. So as we know, according to concept of conservatism, every business has to prepare for its loss. So it should also be put as an expense in debit side and less from debtors because it reduces our debtors. Again I am repeating, provision on debtors or provision for doubtful debts. It means this amount can also become a loss for the business. So it should be in the debit side. You can also write it as a loss. So loss for the business. So in balance sheet less from debtors. But if provision for doubtful debts given in question, then it means old provision. We have to compare old provision with new provision, and in next video I will give you complete treatment regarding the adjustment of debtors. So when old provision are given and new provisions are given. So for watching the treatment of all adjustment relating to debtors, please see the next video. Thank you.